Well, hey, never say that I don't make it a little exciting and, and give y'all something new each and every time. Good evening, good day, good morning. Whenever you're watching this video, I'm glad that you went out your way to click on that video with me talking about those New Orleans Pelicans. Pelicans Daily, presented by Fan Arch. I'm your host, Dylan Bruton. Make sure to like, to share, to subscribe. Do all the things that are entailed with support, because support is for free, and it goes a long way, even beyond here. Anyway, y'all, hope y'all been having a great weekend. Hope y'all been had a great week as well. It's been a really great time for me. I've been managing and balancing a lot, though. But, hey, you know I'm always down to talk about those New Orleans Pelicans, baby. It don't matter. Rain, sleet, snow. I'm going to get a video out somehow, some way. Word to Jigga, word to Scarface, word to Beans. All right. Well, staying, though, on the topic of somehow, some way, what is going on with those Knicks? Me and my boy Chris Lambert, because that's my dog for real. Me and him been chopping up quite a bit. That's my boy for real. You know what I'm saying? Got nothing but love, man. That's kinfolk for real. It's my guy. But yeah, shout out to Chris Lambert. He's a beast. But I'll still be calling him out. This next one out there, oh yeah. You know, I'm singing his praise now, but he's about to get called out in this next one. But it's all love. You know, that's what good friends do. That's what any good buddy is supposed to do. You're supposed to be able to have the best of both worlds. It's all love, but I can still call you out if I don't agree. But, you know, with respect. But Mikal Bridges, right? What's going on with those Knicks? Mikal Bridges, who famously was traded for 6 first-round picks, which I still am mind blown about. Because 6 first-round picks being traded, that's if the player in question is prime D Rose, prime T-Mac, prime Kobe, prime LeBron, prime Melo, prime Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, prime Wilt, prime Michael Jordan. Like 6 first-round picks? 6? For Mikal Bridges? Yo, whoever his agent is, because this man just made 4 years, just made $150 million off of a 4-year contract real recently. He just got an extension. Shout out to his agent. Matter of fact, whoever his agent is, can you represent me, please? Because I need that type of, I need that type of investment. I need that type of belief in me. 4 years, $150 million, and like my voice is in so disbelief. 4 years and $150 million and 6 first-round picks traded. And Mikal Bridges is a good player. He played a very valuable role to those Suns making it to the finals in 2021. But 6 first-round picks, I'm still not over that. And then you reward the man with 4 years and $150 million. And I know he played an instrumental role in this playoffs, right? Especially in the series against the Boston Celtics, the defending champs. He stepped up and showed out. But there was people in those moments, right? They were like, that's why you make the trade for Mikal Bridges. You know, I understand maybe 2 first-round picks, which that might still be a lot. But 6? 6? 6. The amount of quarterbacks drafted before Tom Brady. 6. I'm still in disbelief, but you know what? Hats off to his agent, because Mikal Bridges is a good player, but Mikal Bridges is at best when he's your 4th or your 5th option on a championship-winning team. You got a squad then. You got a team, right? He fit perfectly with D-Book, with CP3, with Ayton, with Jay Crowder, with Cam Johnson. He fit perfectly into that as like that 4, number 5 guy. That's why they made a appearance in the finals. They didn't win. You know, I wanted them to win, you know, same CP3. I wanted to see my dog get that ring. But shout out to Giannis, right? You know, if I didn't mention, like, you trade 6 first-round picks for a Giannis, for a Victor, for a Zion. But for Mikal Bridges, that's just something I don't understand, personally. You know, to each his own. But me personally, all right, I don't know if I could partake in an endeavor like that. I just don't. But on the flip, right, so talking about Mikal Bridges, we, on the other hand, we got our guy, Herb Jones, signed, sealed, delivered, and extended with a 3-year, $68 million contract. And it's quite the difference right there. It is quite the difference. But you ask yourself about value. You ask yourself about what a player is able to bring to the organization, what a player is able to do. And we have seen who Mikal Bridges is, okay? We've largely seen what his ceiling is going to be. And that's not to slight him. That's not to insult him. He's a good player. 6 first-round picks, though, is a lot. 4 years, $150 million is a lot. So you just have to ask yourself, with these certain players, right, is the bang worth the buck? Is the juice worth the squeeze? And with Herb Jones and Mikal, their value is pretty similar in terms of what they provide as, reliable defensive stoppers, 3-and-D wings, able to space the floor, able to, do the little things, be that glue guy. But with Mikal Bridges, the difference was there was that slight glimmer of hope that he was going to potentially become more, right? Y'all remember when they traded him to the Nets for KD and he finished the year on a tear, and folks was thinking, oh, he might end up doing something. I ain't gonna lie. I said maybe he becomes a borderline all-star. So, maybe my hindsight was wrong. Maybe my viewpoint, clearly my viewpoint was wrong. They say hindsight is 20/20. But when the ensuing season kicked off right after, and Mikal had a chance to be the number one guy, he was not able to become that. He was not able to step up to that level. That's why Cam Thomas became the number one guy in Brooklyn. That's what made him expendable in Brooklyn as well. And the Knicks were just brazen enough to say, we'll give you six first-round picks for him. And the Nets said, pleasure doing business with you. Go ahead. So with Herb knows who he is as a player. He's not going to do anything over the top. He's not going to do anything that isn't expected of him. He knows himself, right? He knows what his role is. Now, also, because Herb came up relatively unknown, unless you were a college hoops fan like someone like me or whatever like that, and he developed in a way that second-round picks normally don't. So that's why I say his ceiling is not even fully fleshed out. And he's a little younger than Mikal, only by a couple years, but Herb and I are the same age. So there's still chances and opportunity for him to ascend and become more. Do I see Herb becoming an all-star one day? I don't really see that, but I see him. I really see him like fully emerging in that. And not just because they left-handed and lanky, but just there is similarities of like their build and play style. But I could see him being a like the perfect hybrid between Tayshaun Prince and Lamar Odom, and that's a championship caliber player, right? Both those guys were instrumental to some very talented teams in their day. So I love Herb, and I'm glad that he knows who he is as a player. And I'm not saying that Mikal Bridges doesn't, but I don't know if the Knicks get that. I don't know if they understand and comprehend. But it is not my mission to inform the Knicks on what to do. They seem to feel like they got it all handled and figured out. So by all means, do your thing. I thank God every day, because a little personal note, but with a lot of my family being from New York City, I thank God that I didn't inherit the Knick fan gene, because, oh, man, that would have been brutal. So shout out to those Knicks, though. Much respect and love to them. Great franchise. So much NBA history revolving around them, but yeah, that's a move that just does not make sense to me. But our move makes sense to me. We did the right thing. Shout out to Spike Lee. You know what I'm saying? Now, a question of asking, did we do the right thing? This is why I said I love my guy Chris Lambert. All love for real. Really do rock with him. You know what I'm saying? And I'm definitely, he's going to be up on here somehow, some way. You know what I'm saying? A little callback. But he published the article, and it was talking about Neek Clifford, who was a player who I talked about us potentially getting at pick 23, and he juxtaposed or compared him to, compared him to Derek Queen, and just reflecting and lamenting on the fact that if we had kept that 23rd pick, we would have, likely been able to get Nick Clifford. And Nick Clifford had a slightly better summer league than Derek Queen, not by much. He only averaged, like 1 point something, like 1.3 points over him, which, in the grand scheme of things, maybe it makes a big deal, but I don't think so. Like 1.3 points, that's a free throw, And granted, like our trade was like the trade that, he averaged 1.2 points per game more. He averaged, he averaged 4.5 boards less than Derek Queen, and he did average more assists. He averaged about 1.9 assists more, and he had less turnovers, and he shot from the field better, and he shot better from three. You know what I'm saying? About 5-6% from the field, and he had more attempts from three too. So So yes, Nick Clifford is to me. I've been singing his praise for a while. I think he very much was a very well-rounded player, a NBA ready player from the jump, and a guy that is going to come in and be a Swiss Army knife for those Kings. You know what I'm saying? He's going to be a guy that is able to handle a lot of rigor, handle a lot of responsibility, and be an impacting player. Now, I see personally his ceiling being like the ultimate glue guy, like a Derek White, which there's nothing wrong with. You pick it in the 20 range and you get a Derek, and I mean they pick that 24. You picking at the 24 range and end up with a Derek White, you are very happy. That's great value. That's great bang for your buck. That's getting the juice from what you squeeze, right? But here's where I disagree with my guy, Chris. Derek Queen has star potential, right? Is it fully fleshed out and mapped out? No. But Derek Queen's ceiling is vastly higher. There's a reason why he was compared to Alperen Sengun, Jokic Light, Zach Randolph, Marc Gasol. I threw in names like Arvydas Sabonis and Bill Walton, right? These are all talented bigs in different eras, different styles with it, but by and large, talented, a soft shooting touch, physical on the inside, able to pass well, not the most explosive athletes, but able to contribute in so many ways as a jumbo-sized playmaker. And with Derek Queen, I mean, again, ceiling. It's all about the ceiling. Nick Clifford could potentially be a better player than Derek Queen coming out the gate. It's very possible, right? Nick Clifford played college longer. He's a grown man. Not saying Derek Queen ain't, but Derek Queen ain't even old enough to go, go kicking on Bourbon Street legally. And that plays a role, right? And Nick Clifford was a guy who had to fight and claw his way to get to where he was at, right? He didn't get the type of shine and appreciation he should have in Colorado, so he had to go venture out a little bit, not too far, stayed at Colorado State, and he became a name. Derek Queen was a 5-star recruit, McDonald's All-American, was, hyped up from the jump. Is a reason why we made a trade up to get a Derek Queen. Make no mistake. So, Chris, my guy, it's all love. It's all love. But I got to strongly disagree with you. Yes, Nick looked better in the Summer League, but that's the Summer League. Okay? I bring him up a lot, and I don't want to pick on him, but since we were talking about great Summer League players, Kyle Kuzma looked like an all-star or slightly better at the Summer League. And he's a good player, solid, good 4th, 5th, maybe 6th option. But are you ever winning anything legitimate with him as a number 2 option or a 1 option? No, not one bit. Not one bit. And I remember there was a time where people actually were having a debate about if he was better than Jason Tatum, which is absolutely crazy, even in retrospect. And even when that debate was going on, I was just like, nah, it just comes down to the usage rate, right? Kyle Kuzma is in an opportunity where outside of BI, there's no other on-ball scorers of that same capacity. I mean, D'Lo was – I don't remember if D'Lo was there or if he was in Brooklyn by this point. Meanwhile, Tatum was on a team that was competing in the playoffs. And Isaiah Thomas and then Kyrie were – not Isaiah. Yeah, Kyrie. Kyrie was the number one guy. You're not going to shoot more than Kyrie as a rookie. It's just not happening. But what Tatum showed – is that he had way more star potential, which is why he got picked 3rd overall, which is why he got compared to guys like Grant Hill, Melo, Paul Pierce, Danny Granger. Everyone I named is an all-star. That's why people said you could tell he comes from the school of Kobe in terms as a lineage player, right? There was way more ceiling comparisons that suggested and showed that or screamed that there'd be more for Jason Tatum. Just like for Derek Queen's case versus Nick Clifford in this particular comparison. So that's where it's hard, where it's like, do you go with the safe option or do you go with the option that could potentially change and alter your whole franchise for the better? And honestly, I think sometimes you got to risk it for the biscuit. You got to go big or go home. Playing it safe all the time, you want to know why championship teams become championship teams is because they dare to dream different. Stay with me now. Think about those Celtics, right? In the summer of 2007, they were hell-bent thinking, "Oh, we're gonna get a top draft pick this year." Right? We're either getting Greg Oden, a franchise-impacting center, or we're getting Kevin Durant, a franchise-impacting small forward. They had a really bad year. And they thought that was going to happen. They slid all the way to pick 5. They had to adjust. They had to adapt. They said, wait a minute now. All right, well, Ray Allen in Seattle wants out, and KG has been a lot more loud about wanting to be out in Minnesota. How do we orchestrate something? And they first took care of, I might have mixed it up, but I know like Jeff Green, who was picked 5, got traded to the Supersonics. And then with another first round pick, and then a gang load of players like Al Jefferson, Ryan Gomes, Sebastian Telfair, XYZ, these other players, they all got traded to Minnesota for KG, in addition to picks. And the gamble paid off, right? The first big 3 of the modern era, and they won they won in year 1, right? They went from being a 24-win team to a 66-win team. And the Celtics have the most championships, right? You gotta follow who is winning. Success leaves clues. Sometimes you gotta take that shot. Sometimes you gotta go for the glory. Sometimes you gotta go for it on 4th down, right? Talking football. Football season's about to be back. I'm so excited. You can't always take the safe play. That's just not how it goes. It's not how life works either. Sometimes you gotta take that leap of faith. You have to go on a date with destiny and hope that things go well. So, Chris, much love to you, my guy, but I don't agree with you one bit, because, hey, look, Nick Clifford could end up being better than Derek Queen, but do I see that, given his potential? Highly unlikely. I like Nick Clifford a lot. He was a guy who I literally advocated for us to draft, so there's no animosity here, and I wish Nick Clifford the best of luck. I respect those 4 or 5-year college players for real, because that's a real grind. It's a real investment still. So yeah, but I can't go that. I can't go that route. Can't go that route and co-sign it. With all due respect. All right, but with respect to my guy Chris Lambert, because he knows ball, man. We gotta shout out my boy. He knows ball. Even though I call him out, he knows ball. It's all love. He knows that. Now another question is asked, right? A question that I have posed, question that folks have wondered out loud. But should we still try to acquire Malcolm Brogdon? Now, the reason why the Malcolm Brogdon talk is a thing, right, is because we've we've looked into, okay, we just used our last two-way contract on a guard slash forward. And before that, we used it on another guard, and before that, we used it on another center. So we've kind of, you know, I don't want to say covered every bit of our tracks, but we've very much like gotten everything that we've needed, right? And I like this Bryce McGowan signing. I think it is a good one. I like Trey Alexander. I'm hoping Hunter Dickinson makes it work for us. And then we just signed Jaden Springer. So next up, and this is something that Jake Fisher, an NBA insider, but this is Chris Lambert's article, but this is from Jake Fisher. He said that, you know, the Pelicans, amongst 7 other teams, are very interested in signing Malcolm Brogdon. And it's funny because Chris himself acknowledged in his own article, and this is why I say, like, Chris is cut above the rest, because he's very self-aware. He acknowledges, you know what I'm saying, things that he has said that he might not have agreed on. And it takes a man to be able to do that. So that's why I say, you know, shout out to my dog, Chris Lambert. And no, that is not me. I don't have that type of time to put out articles at that rate. When I write an article, it takes me a while because I really be, you know what I'm saying, I'm long-winded as a speaker. So just imagine how I am as a writer. You know, I can be slick, but with writing, I like to pour out. I love to really share and express my passion for sports and allow for people to connect to it. You know, but he said, you know, he wasn't with it, but now the more he's looking at it, he's a lot more with it. You know, he talked as well about Amir Coffey as being an option and a guy that we should look into, and I'm not against it either. I would be happy either way. With Amir Coffey, we get another wing who's a great 3-and-D, space the floor, great shooter, great defender, very efficient player. I'm with that. Son of an NBA player, right? Pedigree. But with Malcolm Brogdon, I really would love that idea because then we for sure, it alleviates pressure on Jeremiah Fierce to feel like, well, I gotta step up in that 6-man role. And not saying that pressure of that notion wouldn't be good for Jeremiah Fierce to have, because it would, but at least it's like, okay, it's not, you can compete for that, right? You and Malcolm can compete, but it's not like you have to do it, otherwise we're cooked, we're done for. And Malcolm Brogdon in his career has been a very impressive player, right? He's, you know, in his 9 years, he's averaged around 15 a game, 4 boards, nearly 5 assists on a very impressive 39% from the field. You know, highly efficient, highly intelligent, 6th man of the year, with the Boston Celtics, and they went to a finals. Unfortunately, they lost against the Warriors. Won Rookie of the Year of his draft class, the 2016 class, which him and DeJounte Murray were both members of. And he's a guy that plays very well within his role. But if you need him to go out and cook, he can do it. It's similar to Drew Holiday of like, I could do way more than y'all expect, but I'm so good at this particular things. And for Malcolm Brogdon, him being another ball handler, him being another floor spacer, him being a shot creator, he does that at such a great level. Is he a superstar? Is he an all-star? No. But he's a guy that you're saying, hey, Superman needs to don a cape, Batman needs to don on a mask today, I got y'all. And those are the kind of players that you try to sign. You know what I'm saying? You don't break the bank for them, but you try to sign them. You try to get them on the roster. And he also has experience, 9 years. He was a winner in college. He played at Virginia. He was on that national championship team. Or, no, sorry, I was very wrong. But he was on the team that nearly was undefeated. Yeah, I had to correct myself. And that's something that, again, is invaluable. You when you have pedigree and it follows you, salute. I'm going to briefly drop a little personal thing, but his mother is actually she's an administrator or something like that with in the educational at one of the most prestigious departments at Morehouse. And I went to Clark Atlanta. You know what I'm saying? I'm always repping. I don't know, y'all can really see. There we go. CAU. Always representing, always supporting my lovely university. But his mother works his mother works in works within the one of the education departments at Morehouse, and another very prestigious department. And it just goes to show you the type of person and the type of pedigree that Malcolm Brogdon embodies, and that type of class, that type of veteran leadership. He brings that to his NBA life. He brings that to his career. And it's definitely something that I think would rub off well with our guys. Saying especially our young guys like, again, Jeremiah Fears, where you can see some aspects. Like, I look at Jeremiah Fears is like if Malcolm Brogdon decided to be like, oh, I'm that guy every single game, versus like Malcolm Brogdon is like the ceiling of like a Jeremiah Fears if he was like a little bit more, played a little bit more under control. But it's just young guy. It all checks out and makes sense. But Jeremiah Fears has a higher ceiling than Malcolm Brogdon. And that's no slight to Malcolm Brogdon. Great player. Does exactly what it is that you need. But you got to know what guys have high ceiling and high potential versus who's good at what they're at. But it's never going to become great. It's never going to become better than expected. So you just got to have that type of self-awareness. You got to have that type of intuitiveness to see and basketball knowledge. But I would love for us to get Malcolm Brogdon. For our final roster spot, why not? Why not? Bring him in, see what he can do, and we'll go from there. I really think that he would be a guy that would be able to do so much for us and beyond just being a good player, but being a guy that, again, veteran leader, being someone for the young players to look up to, especially our guards. All right, let's get to those comments. It's not many, but that's what's nice. We can get through these and knock them out. My guy Christopher Church 2653. If we stay just averagely healthy, seriously, if our starters at least play somewhere between 50 to 65 games, I guarantee it. Shout out to Denzel. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. I can't do. I have my moments when I can do Denzel's voice, but if I try, I can't do it as well. But anyway, you get what I'm saying. You get what Denzel will be saying, right? If our guys play at least 50 to 65 games, again, expect much success because when healthy, we have one of the best starting fives and bench rotations in the entire NBA. If everybody is healthy and playing at the expected level. Beast Mode Baseball, Z3J, first a lot. Hey, well, appreciate you, Beast Mode. I don't believe I've seen you on here before, but much love. David Weimer, 8244, you sound under the weather. Take care of yourself. David, I was a little bit, so appreciate you, man. That's much love. And then Ed Johnson, 3885, could you please correct the statement that President Dumars is from Shreveport? He's actually from Natachitoches. Providing accurate information may cause viewers to question your credibility. Ooh, this feels a little bit spicy, a little bit slightly confrontational, maybe a little bit passive aggressive. I don't know. But you're not wrong. He is from. I can't pronounce it. I gotta pull it up to the proper. Natachitoches. Natachitoches. I might have butchered that again. Name pronunciation is not my greatest skill. My last name is French too, but it's pronounced Bruton, so it's a little different. It's a little easier on the tongue. It's a little easier on the mouth. Pause. But you're right. He is not. He was born in Shreveport, and he went to McNeese. So I guess that's where maybe I'm doing the disservice of. I mean, that's Lake Charles, but I know it's not all too far from each other relatively. But yes. But as to address that comment about viewers not questioning my credibility, I say this with all due respect. If me saying that, like the wrong city, even though it's all in the same state, province, not too far off in the counties. I'm not like an expert on Louisiana, but I know a thing or two. And again, I'm willing to be corrected. But if you're going to try to say that's why viewership or people are not liking it, I think you're mistaken. But I say that with all due respect. I'm not trying to get in no back and forth. I say that with all due respect. But I don't think that's why. It's just people got lives to live. People got things going on. They might not want to carve out 20, 30 minutes to watch me rant and rave about those Pelicans. You know what I'm saying? There's a lot of things going on in the world besides what I'm talking about here. But I don't think that is the reason. I don't think they're going, that guy, he knows ball, but he messed up what hometown he came from. I can't watch that. I cannot support. I will not support it with my viewership. I don't think that's the conversation, respectfully. Correct me if I'm wrong. Maybe there's a little coalition running around that I don't know about. And they going, we ain't going to watch his videos until he knows exactly what hometown, what neighborhood, what elementary school, middle school, what type of church he went to. I want the whole Rolodex of things that he did. Maybe that's the case, but if it's not, it's not. And it's cool. It's all good. But all love. And then last but never least, my guy Chris Lambert. G net. Yes, sir. Hey, appreciate you, as always, with all these great articles. Yeah, there we go. Responding to y'all. But anyway, you get the drift. You get what I was getting at. Yeah, I got my phone set up, so it's like kind of blocking, just so I needed a little light. But yeah, end of the day, the people come and go. The likes and the views they go up and down. But at the end of the day, people watching, people tuning in, people tapping in, and that's all that matters. And when the season really kicks off, because it's summer league is over, draft is over, and we're getting closer to the fall, but we're not quite there. We're not quite at training camp. We're not quite at preseason. So and football's coming back. Football's #1 sport in America. So don't worry. That's all you gotta. That's all I'm gonna say. Don't worry. Don't worry about a thing. But appreciate the concern, nevertheless. Appreciate it. But I most importantly appreciate the support. Appreciate all those who consistently watch, consistently stay tapped in. And, what I'm saying? It goes a long way. Support us for free. I appreciate y'all. Stay blessed. Stay amazing. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Stay tuned for another episode. And, continue to stay blessed, man. Shout out to Fan Arch as well. Doing their thing as always. Much love. And, y'all have a great one.